Hello everybody, this is Sean here from Forward Home Enhancements, a little roofing contractor located out here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The purpose of this video today is going to show you guys how to cut roof cap. So there's this one thing I wanted to touch up on first. Was on my last video I didn't give you guys, with the chalking lines, I didn't give you guys the measurements for the 3-tab shingle. So with 3-tab shingles, it runs in increments of 5s. So when you get up to your second crow's foot, like in that video, you're going to mark in increments of 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, the whole way up the roof. And the other way is you can also run 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So the other thing I didn't mention in the last video was why it's so important to chalk lines. Well, the reason is so you know you're straight, for one. And it's much, much faster. So if anybody would ever want to argue the fact that the chalking lines is not as efficient as running them by eye, I say this to you. What if you have to do a layoff around a dormer? By layoff, I mean you got two guys that are going, or you're shooting up one side of the dormer and then you have to shoot up the other side of the dormer, and say it's placed right in the middle of the house. Well, then you have to assure when you get to the top that both of those courses are going to line up with each other, or you're going to end up having a short course. Again, if you chalk lines, this is something that you don't have to worry about. Professionals chalk lines. Now, yes, there are some instances where you don't have to chalk a line. But if you're running a roof and you're calling yourself a professional roofer, chalking lines is the way to go. It is the absolute way to go, especially if there's multiple shooters. So back to the whole cap thing. Now these are 3-tab shingles. Now it used to be we only had to cut cap. We didn't have perforated cap and or hip and ridge. So this was a job of a laborer, would be down here to cut cap, and he would cut a whole bunch of cap for the roofers that were up there, or all the installers that were up there. So one thing you need to know about cap is a bundle of cap does 33 feet of ridge. So if you ever want to know how many bundles it's going to take to do your roof, how many bundles of cap you're going to need, one bundle does 33 feet. Now that same rule applies to hip and ridge. Hip and ridge that you buy, that's the perforated kind that you simply have to bend over like this, and there you go, they're ready to rock and roll. Well, they also do 33 feet. So there's a huge difference between 3-tab cap and hip and ridge cap. So on a typical architectural roof, the wind rating, the norm seems to be anywhere from 110 to 130 mile an hour wind rating. Owens Corning is what we typically use, and it's 130 mile an hour wind rating. Now if you use the Owens Corning hip and ridge, it also has 130 mile an hour wind rating, which is pretty substantial. So it's going to take a whole lot of wind to blow your cap off, given that they are properly fastened. So now if you cut a cap out of a 3-tab, it only has a 50 to 60 mile an hour wind rating. So it's a substantial difference. But what I'm going to show you today is the way that I learned how to cut cap to give you the most coverage, the most nailable surface, and overall just a better performing cap. So the first thing that you need to focus on right now, or you need to have, I should say, is a hook blade. Now a hook blade is meant to cut through the granulated surface of the shingle. Not the smooth side, the granulated side. If you want to cut through the smooth side, or if you only have a straight blade, straight blades cut through the other side. Hook blades cut through the granulated side. So now back over to this, you want to focus on the keyway, the very top there. So right there, that's going to be your hook point. Now I'm going to try to do this while I'm holding the camera. You're going to hook onto here, and you're going to cut at roughly a 22.5 degree angle. So you should have a little slice like that. Now you're going to come over to here, and you're going to do the same thing. 22.5 degrees. That was probably a little steep. So you should have something that looks like this. Or even like this. Now, the reason why we don't cut them steep or at a 45 degree angle is you look at the difference. I cut one of these on my first video I tried to make for you guys. Now that's one with about 45 degree angle. So you look at that. That doesn't give you a lot of surface to nail to, especially in the event that you have a ridge vent. So remember guys, wind rating is super important. And then also when you're nailing these, some guys will nail here and here, and then here and here, and then others will just pin 2 here and then 2 here. My rule is that if I use 6 nails on the shingle, I'm using 6 nails on the cap. So if I'm using 6 nails, I'll go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I'm using 4, I'll do 1, 2, 1, 2. That's my way of doing it. And then sometimes I'll shoot like this too. It all depends on the situation. But I hope that this video helps someone. And if you need any other advice, or you're stuck on something, just reach out, leave in the comment section, or even submit your question to forwardhe@gmail.com. Remember, guys, if you're just starting out in this and you're a laborer, everybody has to start out being a laborer. Being a laborer is a very important part of the process. The best laborers make the best installers. You don't go from just your first day on the job carrying shingles, and then 2 weeks later now you're shooting shingles. I know everybody wants to make more money, but if you show that your boss that you're efficient, he's going to keep you, and he's going to pay you what you're worth, and he will advance you. What pays in roofing is knowledge. Knowledge pays. Efficiency pays. So, happy roofing to you guys. Thanks.